Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my fall TBR. Even though it's only August, fall has in fact started in my head. Fall is my absolute favorite season and it starts whenever I want it to. Because I live in Florida, we don't have any seasons, so the seasons are made up in my head. They start whenever I want them to start, and fall has in fact started as soon as it hit August 1st. But I bought some fall candles, I got my white pumpkin, I also made my fall TBR. So let's get into it. I'm already a primarily fantasy reader. I'm even more so during the cozier months, and this TBR does in fact very heavily reflect that. A few different categories, I guess you could say, for my fall TBR. First, I'll be talking about the series that I'd like to read. Then I'll be talking about the books on my physical TBR that I'd like to read. And the books that I don't physically own but I would like to read. And then last but certainly not least, the new releases during the fall months. So starting off with a bang, the first series I would like to read during fall is Harry Potter. So I've read the first 2 or 3 books, but that was when I was younger. I was in middle school, I think, when I read them. I don't really count that really because I don't really remember anything from the books. But when I tell you, I watch these movies on a weekly basis. I was a child since they came out. We are a huge Harry Potter family, but I have yet to read any of them. So this fall I'm dedicating my time to reading the Harry Potter series. I recently thrifted the entire series because my parents do own a few of them, but they're not matching copies and they're also absolutely destroyed. I've been looking for them while I was thrifting and I ended up finding all of them, actually. I think I got them for a total of under $6. Let me grab them real quick. So these are all of them. Like I said, I recently thrifted them, so now I am ready to read all of them. I'm actually planning on reading them while I am in the UK. In October, I am in fact going to Edinburgh. If you guys know, you know. Okay, that is quite literally, we don't like her, okay? She who shall not be named. That is where she wrote Harry Potter, and that's where she was inspired by a lot of things in Harry Potter, was Edinburgh, Scotland. I am just so excited to read these, and like I said, I'm planning on hopefully maybe reading them while I'm in the UK. I don't know. I'll definitely be reading Harry Potter this fall. And talking about books that are nostalgic to me, we have Twilight. So I have in fact read the first book. This is obviously the second book, New Moon. And like Harry Potter, I have in fact been thrifting the entire series, also on Kindle Unlimited. This fall, I am hopefully going to read the entire Twilight series. It's pretty self-explanatory, okay? I am absolutely obsessed with the movies. And yes, I know I haven't read these books, but I have watched the movies so many times. I've literally been to Forks because of the movies. It's only right that I read the books, and I am just so excited. I'm just having such a fun time. I actually started New Moon. I'm about 40 pages in, and it is my favorite movie out of any of them. I don't think it's gonna be my favorite book, but it is my favorite movie, so I'm very excited to get into this. I'm just so excited for my journey. And then next up, we have the Shadow and the Ember series. Is that what this is called? Oh, Flesh and Fire. So this is actually called Flesh and Fire. I would like to read the Flesh and Fire series. I've read all of the Blood and Ash books, and I will be getting to the next book in the last category, if you get what I'm putting down. Before I read the up-and-coming book, I would like to read this series. I have the first and second book in the series. I think there's 4 or 5. Maybe not like the entirety of the series, but like at least a decent amount of them before I read the next book, because I feel like in order to understand some things, I need to read this series. If you don't know, this is the prequel to the Blood and Ash series. There is a whole reading order to these 2 series, but I didn't know about the reading order until I finished reading all of the books that are currently out for Blood and Ash. I really did love the Blood and Ash series, and I feel like this would be a nice jump back into the world before the next book comes out, you know? The next series I'll be talking about is my current obsession, and that is the Mortal Instruments. This includes the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices series. Currently in the middle of the 3rd book, City of Glass. Guys, if you watched my 24-hour reading vlog, my most recent 24-hour reading vlog, I was obsessed with City of Ashes. So I'm very excited to be reading City of Glass right now. I'm only about 50 pages in. I am actually so obsessed with the Mortal Instruments right now, and the recommended reading order is reading the first 3 books in the Mortal Instruments, going into the Infernal Devices trilogy, and then picking up the Mortal Instruments series again and reading the last 3 books. And so that's what I'm personally going to be doing, just because I've seen a lot of people recommend that, and I would like to take a little bit of a break from this specific series, kind of take my time with it, I guess you could say. After this one, I will be jumping into the Infernal Devices. This series just gives 2000s nostalgia. Again, I have not read these books. This is my first time reading this series, but I did watch the Mortal Instruments movie 2 years ago. I've been meaning to pick up the series since then, but I just haven't until a few months ago when I picked up the first book. And then now we're on book 3, and I actually just watched the movie again. Guys, it's so good. Like, it's not like, okay, when I say it's so good, I don't mean like it's like life altering, okay? But like, it is just such a fun YA fantasy. I love it. I absolutely love it. I can just see these books getting progressively better. Just so freaking excited. And then we have Bloodmarked. This is book 2 in the Legendborn series. Actually just got this book at Books A Million in their bargain section. Their bargain section is literally so good. I love Books A Million for that specific reason. But the first book, Legendborn, I just had such a fun time with. At like a college academic setting. It's a secret society. There's magic. There's demons, if I remember correctly. And it's just like the Mortal Instruments. It's just a fun YA fantasy. And I don't know why these books give me just like fall vibes. Like, I don't know, these just feel like fall fantasies. But I would like to read this series, or at least the second book. This is kind of the segue into just random books on my physical TBR. I definitely want to read Bloodmarked during fall, but I don't know if I'll get into Oathbound as well during fall. And the next book isn't technically a part of a series, so this is the actual segue into the next section. This does take place in one of my favorite fantasy worlds right now, and that is Air. This takes place in the Ember and the Ashes world. If you guys know, yeah. And Ember and the Ashes, I've talked about enough on this channel. Newfound favorite fantasy series, and by newfound I mean I read them like 3 or 4 months ago, but I've had this book for quite a bit. I bought it right after I finished the series, and I've just been kind of putting off reading it. I don't know when new content of this world is coming out. I think this is going to be a duology, actually. It isn't the last book in the world, but I've just been really putting this off. But this takes place 20 years after the last book in Ember and the Ashes, I think. I don't know too much about it. I kind of want to go in pretty blind, to be honest. Kind of go into most books blind. Specifically this one, I really want to go into blind, but I do think I'm ready to dive back into this world. Okay, and then up next is actually my book club's August pick. I have yet to get to it, and you guys should be able to assume what it is already. If you are in my book club, you obviously know what it is, but if you're not in my book club, you might be able to guess because I have been putting off this book for literally 2 years. Yeah, that is Babel. It is in fact Babel. I've been wanting to read this book in fall. I'm not going to use that as an excuse as to why I've been putting it off, because I just quite honestly am terrified of not liking it. Unfortunately, it is my book club's book, so that means I do in fact have to read it within the next like week and a half, but I am really scared. I don't know why. And then we have the only contemporary romance on this list, and that is The Dead Romantics. I fear this is just the perfect fall romance. I'm pretty sure it's about a girl who falls in love with a dead person, but I really like 7 Year Slip by the same author, so I am really excited to read this whenever I do, but I definitely will be reading it in fall just because I feel like it's the perfect time to read this book, and it's about time that I read this book. The next book I'm kind of throwing a little crazy into the mix because I do not read mysteries or thrillers. I haven't really branched out into that genre yet. It's not that I don't like the genre, I just haven't really read many books from that genre. We have Billy Summers by Stephen King. This would also obviously be my first Stephen King book. All I know is that it's just like a crime mystery, and this is the only book like this I have on my physical TBR. Please send me your recs my way because I do want to read more. Again, I just don't really own any, and I haven't really read any. Billy Summers is a hitman, and it's about his last job that he's taking as a hitman, and apparently everything goes wrong during this hit job. Hopefully I do like this. Fingers crossed. Because I really need to branch out my genres, because I literally only read romance and fantasy, maybe some contemporary fiction thrown in there, but it's literally just those two genres for the most part. And then next we have Shadow of the Gods. This is a high fantasy, and it is based on Norse mythology, which is Vikings. I have found a new obsession with Viking/Norse fantasy, so I'm very excited but intimidated to go into this book because this is a high fantasy. I'm trying to lean more into high fantasy because I'm really trying to figure out my taste. I don't really know too much about this series, like I've stated 1,000 times. I pretty much much go into books blind. I don't really like knowing too much about books. I do know it follows 3 main characters. There's a lot of mythological creatures. I know there are some dragons in this book. I think they're a big part of it, but I know that they're in it. And then now we're gonna rapid fire the books that I don't physically own. The first book is The Jasad Heir. This is a book that I've really been wanting to pick up recently. It's picked up quite a bit of traction with popularity. The second book was also just released, so I know if I finish the first book and I really like it, I do have another one waiting for me, but I've only heard amazing things about it. And then we have The Raven Scholar. This one is a new one. I don't know when it came out, but I'm just now seeing some people talk about it. I think it might have been a newer release, but what I do know about this is that I think there is a trials aspect of it. All I know is that it's a fantasy set in an academy setting. Count me in. I need to read that book ASAP. Like, I need it in my hands right now. I should probably go place a hold on Libby. And then this one I know is on Kindle Unlimited, but that is Direbound. I've seen a few people talk about it, but I've specifically seen Emmy talk about it. She rated this book, I think, 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. Once again, I don't know anything about it. Besides, there's werewolves. There's werewolves. And I would read you guys the synopsis of these books, but I prefer not knowing anything. So unfortunately, if I read it to you guys, I will in fact also be reading it myself. But I've just heard amazing things about this book, and like I said, it is in fact on Kindle Unlimited, and I am always in dire need for Kindle Unlimited books, and the most obvious reason, it's werewolves. What screams more fall fantasy than werewolves? Yeah. And then last, for books that are currently out, we have Phantasma. This is also a Kindle Unlimited book, and you guys have probably heard about this. It was very popular, was it last year? Maybe the year before, I don't know. But this book also has trials. The trials are set in a haunted mansion. There are like monsters and everything in it. I'm kind of just imagining a adult Caraval set in a haunted mansion. I'm hoping this is better, but gives similar vibes, because I liked the vibes of Caraval. I just didn't really care for Caraval itself, you know? So quite literally, should I read this on Halloween? Okay, next up is the new releases. I will be going in order as to when they release. I don't have that many. How many do I have? I have 6 new releases. I know that there are many more coming out. These are just the ones that kind of caught my eye. I know that there's others. These are just the ones that I'm looking forward to. First up, on September 2nd, we have Fearful by Lauren Roberts coming out. This is her next novella. I think it's the last book in the Powerless series. We have 2 books coming out on September 23rd. We have Alchemized and The Primal of Blood and Bone. Starting off with The Primal of Blood and Bone, that is the next book in the Blood and Ash series, like I was talking about earlier when I was talking about the Flesh and Fire series. Oh, this one comes out very soon. It was actually supposed to come out in June, I believe. I don't know, but I am very excited for this release. I am so excited. I am also a teensy bit scared, because the last book that was in the series was quite literally just a retelling of the first book. 500 pages of a retelling from a different perspective from the first book. I felt like we didn't really get any more information. I feel like it should have just been kind of a novella. I did enjoy the perspective that we got. Let me just preface. I don't want to say it felt like a cash grab, but it kind of felt like a cash grab. I don't know. Like, I enjoyed it, but it's just been so long since a new book has come out. When I was reading it, I was like, wait, is this entire 500-page book just from his point of view? Yep, that was it. I was expecting it to be like half, you know? Not the entirety of it. Like, I feel like the retelling from his point of view was longer than the first book. I don't know. So I am a little nervous for this book, but I am also so excited to dive back into the Blood and Ash series, because it's been so long since I've been in that world. Hence why I want to read the Flesh and Fire series. But alas, I am very excited for this new release. And then Alchemized. This is the rewrite of Manacled. I haven't read Manacled, okay? We've already talked about Harry Potter. I haven't read Harry Potter yet either. This is basically Hermione in a different world and with different names. I feel like it's going to be the perfect fall read, but I'm also very scared because I know that Manacled was like very intense. I am pretty nervous for what I'm getting myself into, because from my grasping, Manacled is basically Harry Potter meets Handmaid's Tale. And then coming out October 7th, we have Mate by Ellie Hazelwood. This is the second book to the Bride series that she will be doing, and I personally really loved Bride. It is the perfect fall read. I feel like I've said that for every single book in this video. It's a vampire werewolf romance. That's what Bride was. Mate, on the other hand, is a werewolf. We've already met the characters in Bride, and I am just, again, so excited for a fun paranormal romance. More paranormal romances. I feel like I just really like them. Last but certainly not least, this is my most anticipated, my most exciting release on this list, if not for, I guess, the rest of the year. On November 25th, we have Fallen Stars coming out. This is the second book to Heavenly Bodies. If you guys know, I read Heavenly Bodies like 3 months ago. I read it in May. I don't know, but I absolutely fell in love with that book. It was the perfect romantasy in my opinion. I had read it after I had tried multiple romantasies and all of them were just kind of feeling like copy and paste, and not in a plagiarism way, but just felt like the books were following the same exact blueprint. So I was very hesitant going into Heavenly Bodies, but I absolutely fell in love with it. I've been looking forward to the next book since I had finished it, but this is your sign to read Heavenly Bodies if you haven't already. If you want a romantasy that has yearning, and I don't know who wouldn't. If you are a girly who loves yearning, you will love Heavenly Bodies. Nothing happens until about 70% of the way through, I want to say. I feel like that sounds about right. It is just so beautiful. It is such a beautiful story. It is just so good. Do I want to reread it? Do I want to reread it before Fallen Stars comes out? Probably. Probably. I'll probably end up rereading it before the next book comes out. And I'm not a rereader, guys, but I want to go in and annotate my book. By the way, she is beautiful. I got this book because of the cover, because are you joking? Oh my god, I'm so excited for the next book. Those are all of the books that I would like to read this fall. It is a very ambitious TBR. These are just the books that are on my radar this fall, and I am just so excited for my favorite season. I'll be doing some cozy fall vlogs and reading vlogs, so just keep an eye out for those. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.